everything for anyone who's not able to join. Okay, so we are going to do what we normally do in the Temple of the Goddess before we get started in any group work, which is to call in sacred space. And we honor the tradition of the Quiro shamans from Peru, which is the tradition that I was initiated into. And for those of you who haven't worked with that tradition, I think most of you have. We work with the serpent in the south, the jaguar to the west, the hummingbird to the north, the eagle to the east, and Quetzalcoatl in the heart, and then of course the earth and the grandfather. I would like to go ahead and actually call in sacred space first, because I think once we start, I think we're gonna go. And so I think maybe what we'll do is let's just go ahead and turn off our videos for that, so we can kind of all be in our own sacred space, and then we'll come back on video. Okay, great. So Raheem tried to help me with the musical accompaniment to this. And so Raheem, I'm going to adjust the thing on my side that says original sound for musicians on and see if that helps. So you might need to do that from your side too. So we'll experiment. Okay, so when we call in sacred space, essentially what we're doing is asking the spiritual elements, you know, of the earth, of this portal that we live in, to help to hold this container that we're building for our work. And so you can either face the direction physically each way, or if for some reason you can't get up and walk around, you are welcome to face that direction energetically. So we're going to go ahead and open sacred space. I'm going to go ahead and stand up now so you can do whatever is right for you. And I'm going to begin by facing the south, which of course is, you know, going to be right between where the sun rises and the sun sets. So if you're having a hard time figuring out where the south is, you can always face the east, right? And then turn to the right. Go clockwise. All right, Rahima, I am ready for.
Can you hear this?
I can. Yeah, I can hear it. Great winds of the south. Sachamama. We honor all the medicine of the south, the place where we come for the healing of the physical body. We call on you, Mother, Sister, Serpent, to wrap your coils of light around us. As we come into a deep knowingness that we may be carrying things that are no longer ours to carry. Help us to lay down what is no longer ours. Help us to shed our skin like you, with deep faith, patience, trust in the process, and gratitude for all the medicine we have received from what we did carry and are no longer required to carry. Thank you for wrapping your coils of light around us, Mother, Sister, Serpent. Aho. We're now going to turn to face the winds of the west, the land of the jaguar, and the land of the setting sun. Sweet winds of the west, we receive you and all your medicine, giving thanks for this portal where we come for the healing of the emotional body, the place where we stand at the edge of the jungle as the sun begins to set below the horizon. We walk deep into the forest, deep into the jungle. As the day disappears and the night ascends upon us, we become one with the darkness, calling in the support and the guidance and the medicine of Mother, Sister, Jaguar. We call in the energy of your fierce, sultry, powerful medicine, asking you to track the shadows of our medicine space today, asking you to help us see through your eyes, through the eyes of the jaguar who can see through the night, who can see past all the coping mechanisms, all the protective barriers, all the patterning that comes from our traumas that we no longer need, that we can alchemize, that stands between where we are now and our ability to become one with our sacred power. Thank you, winds of the west, for all your medicine. Aho. We now turn to face the winds of the north, the land of the hummingbird, the land of the ancestors. Sweet winds of the north, we give thanks for the ways of the elders. We give thanks for the medicine of the grandmother and the grandfather, for the teachings of right relationship and integrity. Thank you to all of those who came before us, for each of our lineages, for each of the grandmothers and grandfathers and great-grandmothers and all those who came before them, on whose shoulders we stand. Thank you for their love, their work, their efforts, their sacrifices that allow us to be here today. Here in the north, we come for the healing of the etheric body, the spirit body. We come to repair that body. Call on the spirit of the sweet hummingbird to sprinkle your magic into our medicine space, helping us with soul return, helping us to embody fully our spirit, our soul, to call back the parts of ourselves that we had to put in safekeeping to survive. Taking a moment to breathe in the medicine of the hummingbird, that ability to find that sweet nectar of life in the present moment, to put everything on pause, to calm the noise, to come into the center, and to find gratitude. Giving thanks for all the medicine of the north. Aho. Turning now to face the winds of the east, the land of the rising sun. Sweet winds of the east, we honor you. The place where we come to heal the mind. The place where we come to recognize the illusion of separation that lives in the mind, that is purely an illusion. Taking a moment now to take some deep breaths, to breathe in the frequency of oneness consciousness, to bring into the mind and to the energy body the truth that we are one with spirit, with ourselves, with all beings. We come from a lineage of oneness. Breathing in that ability to vibrate that frequency of oneness consciousness. Calling on you, Brother Eagle, to fly swiftly into our medicine space. Calling on you to fly with us wingtip to wingtip, high above the mountains, into the arms of spirit, soaring through the currents of Great Spirit's energy. We call on you, Brother Eagle, to help us see ourselves through that higher vantage point, above the details of our daily lives. Help us to see ourselves through the perspective of our soul's potential. Help us to see what is true. We give thanks for this portal where the light is reborn each and every day, the aurora, the great dawning of the light that returns to our lives each day. Giving thanks for all the medicine of the East. Aho. Coming back to face the direction of the south, we now use our hands or crouch down or whatever we feel is right for us to honor the fifth direction of the Mother, Mother Earth, Mama Gaia. Sweet Mother, we honor the Divine Mother that you are, the Holy Mother archetype for all beings that literally live off the sustenance of you. Thank you for allowing us the gift of this lifetime on your belly. Thank you for nourishing us and for holding us, for receiving our tears, our blood. Thank you for showing us what it is to be a divine feminine being, to be both creative and destructive, life-giving and raging. Thank you for helping us to see how powerful and resilient we truly are. Here we give thanks for all the mothering that happens everywhere, not just by mothers, by all beings. We honor the sacred act of mothering. Giving thanks for the foundation of our medicine space, the Great Mother, Aho. Now I invite you to raise your hands high above your head to honor the sixth direction of Grandfather Sky. Grandfather, we thank you for being this eternal embodiment of the sacred masculine. Through all we have been through so many thousands of years, you have remained the sacred, the true grandfather, the one who holds the container, the structural integrity for the whole, the sacred order for us to return to. Thank you for holding the heavens, the skies, the star nations, the planets, Father Sun, Grandmother Moon. Thank you, Father Sun, for your solar energy and love. Thank you, Grandmother Moon, for your lunar illumination and your deep nurturing energies. The way you regulate our bloods, our cycles, the cycles of the earth. We give thanks to all the winged ones who come to help us remember, who answer our prayers when we ask for guidance and confirmation. Thank you for being here with us, for being the messengers of Great Spirit. Giving thanks for all the medicine of the sixth direction. Aho. And now I invite you to bring the hands into prayer position in front of the heart as we come to honor the Sacred Heart. Giving thanks for this multidimensional portal of the heart, the master healer, the place where all things can find their way back home to become one, where all traumas and pain can be dissolved and resolved. We honor the courage that lives in this heart, remembering that courage is not the absence of fear, but the ability to find courage in the face of fear and to move from that place of courage. We honor the compassion that lives in this heart, the ability to hold others in the space of compassion without taking on what is not ours to carry. The ability to hold ourselves in a space of compassion as we move through our journeys. Forgiveness, the ability to forgive the other, to set ourselves free, and especially the ability to forgive ourselves. Thank you to the Sacred Heart. And finally, the wisdom and the unconditional love that are channeled through this heart. The wisdom accumulated through so many lifetimes as ancient beings, and the unconditional love that is the true nature of the heart. Taking a moment to breathe deeply into this heart. To give this heart a chance to open, to relax, to soften. Here in the heart, we honor the spirit of Quetzalcoatl of the Aztec nation, the feathered serpent, the phoenix rising, the rainbow dragon who rises from the ashes, The rainbow dragon is the one who can breathe the fires of purification onto all that no longer serves, from a place of true unconditional love with no ego. From a place of true service is where the transformation takes place. Honoring the heart as the portal that unites above and below, uniting heaven and earth, spirit and matter. And finally, honoring these temples, these physical bodies, these temples that hold our spirits, our souls. Thank you for holding us, for grounding us, for the work that we came to do. Inviting each of us to take 3 deep breaths into the energy body, imagining as you breathe in, you are breathing in source consciousness and becoming not only more expansive, but more illuminated. Taking a nice deep breath in, if possible, breathing in to 8 counts. Feeling how you are taking up more space. And as you naturally find your exhale, just allowing any energies of stress, anxiety to fall away. Exhaling slowly with intention. As you inhale, you may want to use your hands to bring them out to the sides to feel into the energy body, which they say is at least 8 feet out around us. As you exhale, allowing any ungrounded energies to fall away from the nervous system. And on the next inhale, using the hands as you inhale, bringing them up and holding the inhale at the top of the breath for as long as you feel called, allowing the nervous system, the parasympathetic nervous system, to decompress and ground before you exhale with intention. All right. Thank you to each of you for joining me in the opening of Sacred Space. And what we are going to do right now is I'm going to invite each of you to go ahead and get out your journals. And you can be wherever you would like to be right now. If you would like to be laying down on your yoga mat, if you would like to be sitting up, at a desk or whatever works for you. But we're going to actually just open with a short journal reflection, and then we're going to get into kind of our welcome and our introductions. We kind of mostly did introductions, but we're going to be talking about our sacred agreements for the container we're going to build. And so we're going to have a short discussion in just a moment. It's kind of part of our welcome and opening. But I would like to invite you to do just one journal question. So if everyone has out their journal, then you can keep your video on or off, whatever works for you. So in honor of Chiron going retrograde today, and we all know that Chiron is the wounded healer, we're going to be tapping into the Chiron portal. And Chiron has to do with the deepest wound that we came to heal in this lifetime. And so I'd like to ask you to just kind of drop in with whether you want to close your eyes, whether you want to put your hand on your heart, and just to really intuitively think about what is the core wound that you came to heal. And just do a couple minutes of writing on that. It doesn't need to be anything long, but because of the fact that Chiron just went retrograde today, this is a really great time to drop in and connect with that. Chiron went retrograde this morning at 6:51 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'm going to put on just a little bit of background music. I'll see if you can hear it while we're journaling. So we're going to do some journaling around our topic for today a little bit later. This is just like some introductory tuning in. Can someone let me know if you can hear the music?
Being heard and out.
Okay. It's not, yeah, okay. Thank you. Is that better or worse, Carisha?
More now.
You can hear it more now? Okay. Okay. I always get confused about which button I'm supposed to press. So we're just going to take one more minute and we're going to get into a little orientation for our journey. Okay, so I wanted to again welcome you all and thank you for being here. This is an idea that came to me just a couple of weeks ago, and I'm personally really grateful for it because I know that as a being that's incarnated into physical form and as a woman, it's so helpful to me to be in community. And so I'm just really grateful to have this time with you all and for us to have the support of each other, for the next 14 days. I think we know just how healing community can be just by itself with no other elements added. So I'm just really grateful to each of you for showing up and being present and helping us to create this community together. So I wanted to just give a brief kind of orientation to a couple of logistical things. I'm actually going to share the screen and just show you all a couple of things. Just to kind of make logistics easier for the next 13 days and after, if you want to access anything. So I'm going to share my screen. And what I'm showing you is a platform that some of you know about. It's called Mighty Networks, and I have like a virtual community hosted on Mighty Networks. So what you're seeing right now is something that's called a space. You're specifically seeing the event within this space. And so basically the way it works is that I have this event housed within this space. So the space is called the Resurrection of a Lioness, and then this event is housed within that space, and it's a reoccurring event. So one of the ways that you could get to this Zoom, for example, is by joining this space, which I sent each of you an invitation over email. There may be one or two of you I still need to send that to. And then every day you'll be able to just click on this link. So that's one way you can find that. And then what I'll be doing is I'll be posting the recordings in this space as well. So there's a place where I can post documents. So like, let's say you really wanted to do a practice that we did on day 4. You'll be able to go back and find the recording for day 4 in this space. I'm also going to post just kind of the basic orientation details that I have. And so just to make sure everyone saw this, I sent out an email last night where I sent you this information. So it has the link to the Zoom meeting. It has what you need for today, which you'll still have time to gather that if you don't have it, which is just a piece of paper and a plate or somewhere to burn something. And if you're not able to do that for some reason today, right now, you can do it later this afternoon or this evening. And then I sent you a document that says how to prepare and what to bring. And I just want to briefly review that just to make sure everybody receives this information. So if you have not set an intention for our time together, I would really love to recommend that you do that. And one of the ways to think about that is to really think about the energy that you want to be holding and vibrating to on the Lion's Gate, right? So that powerful 8/8 Lion's Gate portal. Think about the energy you want to be embodying, right? And then that can help lead you to your intention. So I'd really love to recommend everyone set an intention for our time together. Create your sacred space. So creating some type of little altar, whatever that means for you, to actually reflect your intention is a really powerful thing that I recommend. And then prepare your physical space. And, you can always do this today or tomorrow, whenever you're able to, but just think about a space that is really conducive to you doing this work. Where is the most peaceful place in your home? Where is the most quiet? Where can you have the most privacy? And then see if you can make sure that that space feels clean and tidy and organized, and you can have your sacred space in that place. Prepare your household just means, make sure the people around you know that, you're not going to be available during this time. And you may also want to share your intentions and your reasons for participating. That's of course completely up to you. Just a reminder to silence your devices so they're not distracting to you or to any of us. And then, if you can arrive into your sacred space, into the physical space you're going to be in, maybe about 10 minutes early, just to give yourselves a chance to arrive and ground. That's helpful. Of course, it's not always possible. So no, judgment there if it's not possible, just an invitation if it is possible. So this is my list of what to bring for each day. And you all may have other things that you want to add to this that I haven't thought of. So please let me know if there's anything else we should add. So I put a yoga mat, a journal. When I say a juicy pen, you know how we all have our favorite pen, something that really helps to make you feel like you want to write. I put sacred plant medicines to support your work. So whether that's certain teas or tinctures or oils, essential oils, incense, whatever that is. And then I put an open heart and trust in the process. And I should also probably put a willingness to be vulnerable, but I'll leave that up to you for today. Okay. And then I have in here the power of sacred space. Does anybody have anything else that they think we should add to this list? Any other thoughts of things I might be forgetting? Okay. The power of sacred space. So one of the gifts of our time together is the opportunity for you to rest in the safety of sacred space, which is not something that we always have available to us. And so one of our intentions for today and for the next few days is to look at what does sacred space look like to each of you? What does that feel like? What do you need feel safe in a group setting and in sacred space. And so I'm going to go ahead up and poll. I've been collecting over the last few years from different cohorts of the program, just some examples. And Daisy probably remembers we just did this at the retreat. And those of you who have done other offerings that I've done know that this is something that I think is really important. So I will just read through a couple of these. These are things other people have said in the past, just to kind of get you thinking. And so what I would like to do is just kind of go around in the circle and have each person just share one thing that they feel like is important for them, to feel that they're in sacred space and they have that sense of safety. So when a sister is sharing, the other sisters are asked to listen and be present without giving any kind of advice, feedback, or suggestions. And again, as we discussed at the retreat last month, or I guess earlier this month, you know, if you are sharing something and you really would like feedback and ideas and advice, you are always welcome to ask for that. But if you don't ask for that, you know, it can be triggering to people to be sharing and have others jumping in and, you know, giving their advice. Confidentiality, sharing from an open heart. So those are just some ideas, and I have those in the document if anybody wants to go back and review those. And we can always add more, you know, we can always add more ideas to the list. And so I think that's it in terms of orientation. Was there anything else that I didn't think of? Are there questions that you all have that I have not anticipated? Thoughts, questions, reflections on the orientation, logistics? Okay. So why don't we go ahead and ask if people can turn their videos back on if possible. And let's have just a short discussion about sacred space and what sacred space looks like for each of you. So let's see. Who would like to share something that they feel is important to creating sacred space? Any suggestions? Should I just pick somebody to start?
I don't have anything to add to freezing all of a sudden. Am I being heard clearly?
I can hear you now. Yeah, I can hear you now. Oh, but now I
Okay.
can't. Okay, now I can again.
It's going like back
You
and
know,
forth.
you know what you could do? Try to turn off your video.
What about now?
Yeah, now we can, but maybe just turn off your video so we can hear you, because it sounds like it is buffering.
Okay, what about now?
Yep.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Mhm.
So I was that I don't have anything to add to what you have there, but I love that list as a facilitator of sacred. I love that list. And I think the one that stands out to me the most is not offering advice. Is not offering advice, is sharing, because I think that we all are so powerful and the wisdom really truly does sit within us. And sometimes the person may just be sharing and they've already moved past that point. They've already gotten the lessons or the gems or the wisdom. And all they're wanting to do is just come into the space and share. And I think allowing people the opportunity to say, hey, but if you do want advice, then that's something that you would have to initiate in the group. But I love the entire list. Beautiful.
Okay, great. So I'm going to create a new list specifically for our journey. So I will add that specific one to the list. And let's see, what else? So what about you? What about you, Kim? Do you have any thoughts on something you would like to make sure we incorporate into our sacred space?
At the moment, no. I mean, of course, it should be a given, like just like that feeling of judgment not be there, you know,
Mhm.
just making sure that people don't feel judged and that they can be vulnerable within this space. You know, just feel protected. But other than that, I think, you know, what you already have on the list is really great. And I do love that, you know, where Carisha said like that somebody can just share and you know they because they've already you know been through it and already processed it and just kind of just say uh or share it because they think it's like relevant and I think that's awesome. I think that's a really great one because you know yeah there's people who are already healed from certain things and they just want to you know either give an example or whatever it may be. So yeah, no, I think what just came up for me was just like judgment.
Yeah. Okay, great. I'm going to add that to our specific list for this journey. So I have Carisha's and I put judgment free zone. Does that work for you? Okay, great. What about you, Georgia? Does anything come to mind for you around safe space?
I didn't actually get to read the whole list that you were showing as an example, but for me, just mutual respect. And if you enter the space and you share, then I think it should be expected that you stay for the whole time. So also receive and to be a good and active listener.
Thank you for saying that. I think that's really important. Yeah, I'm going to write that down here. Okay.
I
Great.
don't know what's wrong with my video. Can you all see me? Because I can't see myself.
No, we can't see you. I'm not sure what happened either. Did you try turning it off and then turning it back on?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, let's see. Let me see if I can do anything from here. Let's see. Let me try to stop the video and then try to get you to start it again. Huh. Oh, that's so weird. Okay. Well, Rahima, what about you?
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything to add. I
Okay.
love the vulnerability. I think that's really important and also very challenging sometimes.
Right.
I guess one thing is that when you speak something, just to know that it is creating something. Just that recognizing that words are little creations.
Okay.
Is that too much? I don't know.
Nope. It's not too much at all. I wrote it down. So how should I word the piece about vulnerability? Just that we invite each other to be as vulnerable as we can be in this space.
I think what you said at the beginning, just a willingness to be vulnerable.
Okay. A willingness to be vulnerable.
Yeah, and I like that that vulnerability can be challenging sometimes. I think that's an important piece to bring into our sacred space, the list that you're going to create for us, is that sometimes it's very challenging to be vulnerable. And so that when someone does step into that space, to just kind of honor it, right? I think that was really important too, that came up.
Okay, I like that. Okay. Yes. And is there any particular ways that we can honor when someone chooses to be vulnerable? Any thoughts on that?
I would just say making sure that they feel held and seen.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. Okay.
So would that be like acknowledging that? How would you know that a person would be held and seen?
Well, I guess I was gonna suggest like maybe if not like physically saying it, maybe just putting it in the chat.
Just
'Cause
like
yeah.
Okay. And the other thing that came to me as you all were talking was like, just when we're witnessing someone choosing to be vulnerable, to like really drop into the heart and just to be as present as we can be.
Mm.
and to just really be like in a really like deep space holding energy when when we're witnessing someone choosing to be vulnerable. Okay. Okay, well, I think this is a really nice list. Yeah, it feels good to me. Oh, one thing that that was on the other list that we haven't talked about is like, okay, let's say someone says something that you find to be triggering or upsetting, or maybe you took it in a way that they didn't intend it or something like that. To just really each person committing to being your own advocate. That if something's bothering you or upsetting you, to voice it in whatever way is most appropriate and harmonious for the space, whether that's talking to me about it or but just to make sure that you do what you need to do to keep the energy feeling clear for you to the best of your ability. So to be your own advocate, does that put that into words well enough? What do you think about it?
Is there just because I could imagine being triggered and then disappearing, and that not being very healthy. So I am wondering if there's a way to say advocating for the space too, like to keep myself in the group. I don't know, like I don't know if that's even necessary, but just I don't know how to word that. So
No, I
it's
like that. I
saying,
mean, it's kind of like asking each of us to make the commitment to stay in right relationship with ourselves during the process and to stay in right relationship with the group, which
right.
sometimes that means voicing something that you didn't expect to be feeling, or to just to be as authentic as possible. I think that's what we're asking for.
And I feel like it goes along with just like if you start in the space and you're becoming like actively part of the space, to make the commitment to yourself and to the community, the group, to stay in the space until the end, because your presence and your energy is affecting the space. So if you leave all of a sudden, the space is going to change. And if there are times where you have to, like if you do have to leave a certain time, you can't stay, to maybe notify at the beginning.
Right,
And
so it
but
doesn't
really,
feel like abrupt. Okay.
but really try to make the commitment to stay for the whole time.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for that, Georgia. Thank you. Yeah. It's interesting because some of the lessons that we learned a few years ago, I'm hearing them voiced in a lot of the things that you're saying, Georgia. And there's a lot of wisdom to that, because it really can affect the space when people leave abruptly. Okay, well, I feel like we had a very nice and complete process around that. I'm feeling good about that. I would say Carisha says, say thank you for sharing our emoji. You're just being present. Oh, okay. Yeah, I got that. Daisy has to leave at 1. Yep, perfect. Yeah, I am committed to doing a better job of managing the time than I normally do. I am actively watching the clock. And one of the things I did want to say is that today, just because of the importance of us, really having these types of conversations, we will be having less time for our process. But we will definitely, catch up and be diving deep the rest of the week. So I wanted to go ahead and invite each of us to consider sharing a couple of things. One is just why you felt called to come be part of our circle. What kind of called you? Whether it was an image or a word or a concept, or, what was it? And, how does that relate to your intention? Like, what are you moving towards in this next part of your journey, because part of that is us holding that space for you, right? So let's actually start with that. What called you, what are you wanting to step into next? And I can start. And again, I'm an extrovert, so I think while I talk, which is not always good, but I'm going to see if I can figure out if I can put that into words. I just heard the red-tailed hawk right after I said that. So I'm going to choose to be vulnerable right now and share with you all that a year ago, the Temple of the Goddess went through a difficult time. Two sisters who had been in our last cohort, there was a fracture, and it was very difficult. And there was a lot of lessons in there for me. And it's really taking me about a full year to recover from that. And a lot of the lessons have to do with me trusting what I know and listening, right? Like being shown something, seeing it, knowing it, and being obedient to it and not ignoring what I know is true. Like that nagging feeling or voice, it's like listening. And I didn't listen. And I went through a whole entire cycle that was very disruptive to the Temple of the Goddess. Some of you were there for that. And so I feel like I've really been rebuilding myself. I feel like I've been going through a deep process of rebuilding myself, rebuilding the Temple of the Goddess. And it's really time for me to step out into the next layer and level again. And I'm feeling ready for that. And I'm feeling that I am stepping into that portal, and just being more visible again, being more active, being more present with my community, which is a very natural role for me and a role that I really love, and it feeds me and I love it. And I love to be of service in a way that's nourishing for me. And so yeah, my intention is just to be in this space with you all and to kind of practice being available again. I don't really feel like I've been as available as I would have liked to have been, and as I was used to being. And so this kind of beginning of Leo season feels like a new beginning for me, or a new chapter for me. So that's my share. So I think it probably is going to be easier in terms of time if we just go through. So I'm going to just ask you if you're ready to share, and if you're not, then that's fine. Does anybody want to go next, or should I just go through the circle? Carisha, do you mind if I ask if you're willing to share next? And if I can't hear you, I'll tell you. Okay. Yeah, there you go.
It seems like this strategy for me.
Yeah.
So my intention, or what drew me into this space, was I am also feeling like I'm in a process of not necessarily reconstructing, but getting more solid in my own offerings. And my personal process right now is really about alchemizing some of the energies that come up for me. And so I've been recently starting to get some nudges about really sitting in silence and just sitting with myself and having the discipline to just be with myself and listen. And so I figured that these next 2 weeks would be really, really good for me to come in as many days as I possibly can, because I also have things going on that I'm part of. But my intention is to be here at 11:11 every single day, and allow what is wanting to process through me, because it wasn't something that I thought about. It wasn't like, oh, I wonder if I should go and be a part of the 14-day challenge. It was like it was almost as if it not a question, right? But to come in and be a student of the medicine that you have been cultivating for this space. So I am here and I will allow the process to work through me over the next 14 days and beyond.
Well, thank you, Carisha. Thank you for sharing. Miss Georgia, would you be open to sharing anything with us?
Sure, I can be vulnerable. So I am here because, well, first of all, I've known you, Phoebe, for over a year now, and I met her through a mutual friend and had a reading with her, and it was really beautiful, and I felt a lot and also felt a strong connection with her, and commonalities we had. And so we kept in touch and did some more work with the Temple of the Goddess. And then yeah, I guess I'm gone through three. I usually consider a cycle 3 years from my experience, and like a spiritual cycle. And it's been 3 cycles. It's been 9 years since I had this kind of this fatal crashing and burning. And I've just been like, where I didn't listen to myself at all, and I listened to everybody and everything else. This was right after my son was born. And so I've just been trying to pick the pieces up. And it's been 9 years now, and I've kind of come to the point where it's like all I can do, and kind of feeling finally things are stable. And then was actually talking to Phoebe about coming to the retreat in Virginia, and then I find out that I'm pregnant. And I had the person I was seeing that who was the father, I actually cut everything off the day before I found out I was pregnant. And Phoebe we were already in communication because of the retreat, and so she was right there for me. And so it's a huge shock. It's a huge change. It's a huge shift in my life. I'm 41 years old. I have one child who's 10. So this is definitely not in my plan. Definitely not something I consciously wanted, but I realized that it's always been very difficult, and I've had to go through some major like spiritual portals or just mini dark nights. I realized that already with my 3.5 months of being pregnant, that it's really caused some only positive shifts in my life and really made me become clear on what's important and what I need to do and the next steps I need to take in my life. So yeah, when I saw this, that she was offering this, I had to quit my job as a body worker, which was my main work here, because it was just, this is different, 41, being pregnant than 30. I've been so sick and a lot of ups and downs. And so I had to quit that work, and I have had, it's been really good to have time to reflect, but at the same time, I lack the structure and also community of just being around people. So when she sent that, I was like, this is what I need. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm so grateful that you're here, and thank you for that deep share. I really appreciate you being so authentic about where you are. So thank you, Georgia. Miss Rahima?
So I my place for being here is really just because I need to be here. Not necessarily because I really want to be here, if I'm being really honest.
You know, I'm
I
only laughing because I love you.
I know. Yeah. So my life is in a very much of a transitional space. I'm about to go back into like a catering, which is like the opposite of, or what I think of as the opposite of the work I used to do. And I'm just putting a hodgepodge of things together just so money can come in. And that I've been like this sort of like sit around and manifest kind of person, and it's not working right now. So I'm just, you know, pedal to the metal,
Yeah.
And I've been thinking, I've noticed Phoebe's like, come on, what are you doing? Why are you not coming on? And I'm just like, I think I've just been in a kind of either or. I'm either in like commercial, sort of like doing this old, sort of like what I've been really afraid of just going back to kind of selling my soul. And I thought it would either be that or this other thing. So it's kind of being, I don't want to go there anymore with the selling of the soul, obviously. So I need to be here to make a good transition into just being more out there in the world around all kinds of people with all kinds of energy. It scares me actually, but I would be really happy to have some paychecks.
Yeah. Well, I'm really proud of you. Thank you for being here with us. For being so transparent and vulnerable. What about you, Miss Kim? Are you willing to share anything with us?
Yeah, sure. So other than the lovely Phoebe being a reason why I wanted to join, I think my biggest thing was like the resurrection. Um, I love me a good old resurrection and a good old like reincarnation of things.
Yeah.
And I think I'm in kind of like a space like kind of where Rahima is too, where I'm thinking of getting back into like the workforce. So I want to really work on like how intentional I want to be around people and like what energy I want to give off. So yeah, that's like just like resurrecting, reincarnating, just kind of making a new way.
Yeah. Thank you. I think it's really, really interesting that both of you are in that process, and it's Leo season, which is all about being seen and being visible, right? Like just the synchronicities. Yeah. Well, thank you. What about you, Daisy? Is there anything that you would like to share or open to sharing with us?
Yes. Well, what drew me to this series is that, well, a couple of things. First of all, we spent time at the retreat together, and I've recently there's been a fracture in my intentional community, and so I just feel a need to be around other women, men, community, and establish my own. So that's one of the things that drew me to this. And Leo is my descendant sign. And I have lots of Leos in my life whom I just love so much, but there's certain things about them that bother me. And it is because of a reflection of myself. It's of something that's bothering me inside me. So I tried to really think about that and what are some of the things. And I have a very hard time with worthiness and feeling worthy of people's time, of their energy, of their space. Like at the retreat, for example, I would have loved
Thank you for saying that, because I was like, am I allowed to say anything?
Yeah. So for example, at the retreat, I would have loved, even if it were just for 5 minutes, to lay in the middle of the floor, and because I was missing my community so much, and have the women sit around me, just for a minute to hold me and feed me some energy. But I wouldn't say that because I have this thing with worthiness and just not wanting to bother anybody or
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
that's pretty much it. And so like Leos, they celebrate their birthday. My daughter's a Leo. She celebrates it all month long. You know, it's like, this is my birthday month. And she's got all these things planned and everything. When it's my birthday, I'm like, what's the least thing I can do to take up just the smallest amount of anybody else's time to celebrate my birthday? And so usually it's nothing, but it, you know, I did have my 50th birthday. I did ask my friends to do something for me, but usually it's a non-thing. So just feeling that sense of worthiness is what I would like to work on and
Yeah.
help me
Well,
shine a
good.
little brighter. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, I'm really grateful that you decided to join, because I felt like we didn't really get a lot of, like we didn't really get a lot of time together, personal time together during the retreat. And part of that is that, you were almost like another old soul mother energy during the ceremony, and I could feel that you didn't want to take my time, and it was kind of like, anyone who's not demanding my time isn't going to get it, because there are other people that are. And so, but it was like, I felt like I was like, wanting to, to spend more time with you. So I'm really glad that we have more time together.
Well, and I loved the retreat, and I really did get most of everything that I needed from that. And it was a very easy time for me, and it was very relaxing, and it was very much a lot of the things that I needed at that time.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
yeah,
Yeah,
it was really good.
right. That's good. Yeah. You were not needing the same thing that some others were needing. Yeah.
No, it was very rewarding and beautiful to see people going through their transformation. So
Yeah.
I don't feel like, slighted or anything.
Right.
I just noticed that aspect about
Mhm.
myself. Yeah.
Totally. Totally. Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay. Well, so all seven of us, no, six of us have shared, and I will tell you that we do have another sister that signed up, Blen, who I know from Tahira's community. And I'm not sure, I know she's on the West Coast, so maybe she slept in or something. I'm not sure, but I know she will be joining us. So, and she's a beautiful soul. So we will, I can send her our agreements and make sure that she's okay with those. And then maybe we can kind of do introductions tomorrow. And I know Bea wasn't able to be in the mural space and be here. So we'll need to do a little bit of a recap tomorrow, but I will make it very brief. So just checking the time. So it's 11:21, excuse me, 12:21. I'm an hour behind you all right now. So 12:21. So we have basically about 25 minutes. So what I would like to suggest is this. I would like to offer you all the journaling questions that are for this kind of this portal, the Sacred Alchemy, the Serpent Medicine. And then I would like to share with you the process for doing the burning ritual that you all can do sometime today or this evening. Is that something that feels doable? Okay, because I really want to make sure we have time to like close sacred space and okay, so great. So then let's do this. Let's go ahead and turn off our videos and come into our own space. And what I'm going to do actually is I am going to just share the screen so that the questions are right here for you to see. And so, as we talked about in calling in the four directions, serpent medicine really is about, first of all, coming into the awareness of the fact that we may be wearing a skin that is no longer serving us. We may be holding on to an identity that is not ours. And so kind of the opening journal question for this, and I would recommend spending, maybe a couple minutes on each one at the most. And then you, again, later today or this evening, you can go back and review and see if there's anything else that's come up. But the first question is just really about your narrative. What is the narrative really that has been told about you in your life? I'm going to actually shift that question because I think it's good to start with this. What is the story or narrative that has been told about you and your life? So let's start with that question. And I will put on a little background music and you all can just be in your space. And I'm not going to read all the questions out loud because I don't want to interrupt your process. I'm just going to have them here for you to move through as you are ready. So first question I will read. What is the story or the narrative that has been told about you and your life?
With people who got not pressing up code, not the son, speak a bit like the rebellious nation, and say unto them, what is your mother? I am principally rocks at the top and emperors. When she be strong, they will find the first weapons. When she be strong, she lives up a life with them. Yeah. Babylon. And mother with some parliament. Any day she booked the dates. You can't find a virtuous you can't find a virtuous woman. Her loyalty is the priceless. She deliver right to no peace confess. Yes, yes. Lioness. Principally rocks a little man embrace. When she be strong, they would idle first ways. When she be strong, she liberalize the tempest. Yes. She can whatever the state of the nation, she not dispossessed. She the iron, she the best. From my neck, you get a neck like a Lioness. Principally rocks a little upon them birds. When she be strong, they will hide their first ways. When she be strong, she liberalize the tempest. Yes, yes, yes. To Holy Ghost sick upon the chest box. He come like Zion, the wicked man coming after. Well, he's a lion, so we put macaroon, macaroon. Hey, when it's a holy fire, royal lakasha, monkey would not climb. Come reinstate that ya, respect Rasta. I tell a mention to the Kada. Hey, lioness, when she be strong, the whole line universe rests. When she be strong, she neutralize the tempest. Yes, yes. Build her regard for the truth. By beyond mercy, she really not flex, flighty, flighty, orderless. Straight moving by me, disrespect, stay back. When they see her highly, carrying herself highly, carrying herself highly, carrying herself highly. Lioness, principally rock solid up and empress. When she be strong, the whole universe rests. When she be strong, she neutralize the tempest. Yes, 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 yes. Build her God for truth. By beyond mercy, she really not for flex, flighty, flighty. All that they're straight moving by me. Disrespect, stay back when them see her carrying herself highly. When them see, so that she carry herself highly. Don't bother come question the top end of the Trinity. She's a lioness, principally rock solid up and empress. When she be strong, the whole universe rests. When she be strong, she neutralize the tempest. Yes, yes. To defend who she got, whatever the state of the nation, she not dispossess. As she, the iron I be the best. Whatever what come from, the government's coming from the west. High tech, together iron I be tech and make. Togetherness, oh yeah, 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 yeah. She's a lioness, principally rock solid up and empress. When she be strong, the whole universe rests. When she be strong, she neutralize the tempest. Yes, yes, lioness. That's the bar night intriguing. Sale de la montaña, que me limpia, que me cura, cura y me sana. Agua clara que fluye entre las piedras, cristalina y transparente, espuma blanca, purificando con dulce amor, suave poder, transformador, traes alegría a tu alrededor, brillas mi paz interior, purificando con su dulce amor, llevas contigo todo mi dolor, traes alegría a tu alrededor. Okay, so just checking in with you all about time. I would love for us to kind of finish the last activity that I have in mind for us before we close Sacred Space. So I think what I would like to suggest, it's 11:33 here, my time, is let's go ahead and kind of pause. You know, when you have a chance, go ahead and pause where you are. We're going to go ahead and jump to what I'm calling the ritual questions, because they
connect to the ritual that we're going to be doing today as kind of our follow-up work from our session today. So the purpose of this is to basically have the experience of imagining yourself without all of the roles and identities and expectations that have been placed on you by yourself or by others. And part of this is to really become more conscious of what those expectations and identities and roles are that you have been carrying, because oftentimes they're so unconscious that we don't even see them. And so you can start with things like daughter or mother, or the angry one or the friendly one, or whatever it is that it just comes up for you, right? This is kind of like a stream of consciousness, right? Like the fuck up, the lost one, the depressed one, all of these kind of words and concepts that have ever been associated with you. The idea is to take a separate piece of paper, so not the same piece of paper that you've been writing on, but a separate piece of paper. You can, write it in your journal as long as you're willing to tear it out of your journal. And that's where you're going to write all of this stuff. So again, this is stream of consciousness. So if you want to, do the first category as roles, you can, and the second is identities, and third is expectations, right? And the idea is that you burn them so that you can resurrect with the ones that you choose, right? This is the role that I'm choosing. And again, we're not just burning quote unquote bad ones, right? The idea is to burn all of them so that you are in a place of consciously reconfiguring what you actually want, even because sometimes these quote unquote good ones, they may not serve you, right? The caretaker, the one who takes care of everything and everyone. Okay, great. That's a good one, right? That has a great prestige and status in our society. But does it serve you, right? So right now you're not looking at what serves you. You're just writing everything down. All words, roles, identities, expectations, titles that have been placed upon you. Write those down. So we're going to take the next I would say like 5 to 7 minutes to do that, and then we'll close Sacred Space from there, and we will do some sharing around this tomorrow once you've done the ritual after our session. So I will go ahead and put our music back on and then pause us in about 7 minutes. just thought of two other words that you can use to think about this. One is labels, and one is just words, right? What words have been placed on you by yourself or others? And I'll just put or use to describe you. Okay. So when you have a chance, you can kind of let me know where you are in your process. I'm doing my best to just manage our time. I was going to give us about 3 more minutes before we come to doing our closing until we come back together tomorrow. So if you want to just kind of put in the chat kind of where you are with your writing down your questions and your answers, your words. Okay, so wherever you are in your journey, if you can begin to just slowly wrap up. And of course, you have the rest of the day today and this evening, and even tomorrow morning, to continue, working through these questions and making your list. Really, I think as long as you do the burning ritual by the time we meet again tomorrow, then that would be great. So yeah, so whenever you're ready, if you want to just turn your video back on. Okay, great. Thank you all. It's 11:44 here. You know us nerds. I do believe we're in divine timing, though. Okay, well, I always want to say to myself, why didn't I say 3 hours? Like the time goes by so quickly when we're together. All right, well, thank you all for engaging with those questions. And I do hope that you will revisit them today and this evening, in the morning, and So basically the idea is you're going to take the piece of paper and you are going to, you know, just with a lot of presence and heart and gratitude, you're going to burn it, right? And the whole idea is like, whatever has been placed on me before, I'm releasing it so that I can go into the void and decide, like, what do I want to place on myself from a place of intention, right? So I wanted to just show you really quickly. On the website, I do have an overview of the kind of the portals that we're going to be moving through. And so tomorrow is the sacred void. And the sacred void is really about like practicing being in that place of nothingness where, you know, we don't have that mental construct of the mother, the teacher, the rebel, the fuck up, right? Like whatever it is, it's like practicing having no identity and being in that, right? Like being in that place of the unknown is what the sacred void is about. And just so you all know, these are the same portals that we travel through in the longer program that I do. We just spend a lot more time with them. So you're kind of getting a little introduction to the energy and the concept of it. So yeah, the idea today is just to shed all of the layers, right? To imagine that you are, to get to the place where you can imagine you are nothing. And to practice nothingness is the goal for tomorrow. So any questions at all before we close our sacred space? If for some reason you haven't been able to join the online space, it would be great if we could get that taken care of today. That way you'll be able to access everything that you have. Like if you want to see the journal questions from something, like I'll put everything there. Okay, so if you need to reach out to me, just let me know. All right. So why don't we go ahead and say our closings and our goodbyes for today, and then once we close sacred space, we can just, you know, continue on our journeys from today, and we'll see each other again tomorrow. It makes it easier to say goodbye knowing I'm going to see you all again in the morning, in the rising. Okay, well, thank you all again for being here. Anything anybody wanted to share, or questions, or just any last thoughts before we close? No, everybody's doing okay? Everyone's good to go? Okay, great. All right, well, I'm going to turn off my video too, and Rahima, you can help me with the shaker?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, wonderful. All right, so as we come to close sacred space, just giving thanks for the opening of this portal today and the medicine of coming into sacred space with each other. And I want to thank each of us for sharing and being willing to share and be vulnerable, giving thanks for the heart, for the courage to be vulnerable. So we're going to now turn to face the winds of the south, and I'm going to do a very brief closing of sacred space since I did such a thorough opening of sacred space. I'll mostly just be honoring the direction, so if you can just help me with, you know, really honoring the direction and the medicine of that direction with your heart. I won't be saying a lot of words as we close sacred space. I'll be mostly honoring energetically. So I'm ready, Rahima. Sweet winds of the south, Sachamama, Mother, Sister, Serpent. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for wrapping your paws of light around us. Thank you for teaching us how to shed our skin. Aho. Turning to face the winds of the west. Mother, Sister, Jaguar. Winds of the west. Sweet winds of the west, land of the setting sun. Thank you for holding us. Thank you for tracking the shadows of our medicine space. Thank you for keeping us space in this group space together as we do our work. Thank you for helping us to see through your eyes. Honoring all the medicine of the East. Aho. Turning to face the winds of the north, the land of the hummingbird. Sweet winds of the north, we give thanks for all of your medicine. the medicine, the wisdom of the ancestors and the elders, the teachings of right relationship, the magic of the hummingbird, the power and the gift of finding presence and gratitude in this moment. Giving thanks for all the medicine of the north. Aho. Turning now to face the winds of the east, the land of the rising sun. Sweet winds of the east, land of the rising sun, brother eagle, águila, condor, thank you for your presence. Thank you for helping us to see ourselves from a new vantage point, from a higher perspective. Giving thanks for all the medicine of the east, the place of oneness, consciousness. Aho. Turning back to face either your altar or the winds of the south, whichever feels right for you. Grounding, honoring the mother, the fifth direction of Mama Gaia. Thank you, Mother. Thank you for holding us, for loving us, for nurturing us, for teaching us, for being our first teacher. Aho. Raising our hands up to honor the grandfather, the sacred masculine of the sixth direction. Thank you, grandfather, for holding the structural integrity, for the container, for the universe. Thank you for the gifts of the sacred masculine. Aho. Now inviting each of us to place our hands, either hands on the heart or in prayer position, whatever is right for you, just honoring the heart. This incredibly powerful portal of the heart. Inviting each of us to breathe deeply into the heart, to take a nice deep breath, to hold it for a few counts before exhaling with intention, thanking the heart, thanking the wisdom and the medicine of the heart. We now come to close sacred space with deep gratitude for all of the ancestors and lineages that have been present today, for the ancestors and the spirits of the land where each of you are located, for the earth that holds you, for the directions that held us today, and to each of you for showing up to be present with yourselves and for our community. We now close sacred space, sending each of you many blessings. Ashe, Aho, and so it is. Amen.
Amen.
Have a beautiful day to each of you, and thank you so much for your presence.
Thank you.
Thank you. Rahima, do you have time for us to connect now?
Yeah. Mhm.
Hi, my queen.
Hi. Thank you for making me come here. I mean, as much as one can, you are majorly influential in my life, though. So
Well, I couldn't have had it any other way. There would have been a hole in my heart if you hadn't been here, and I couldn't have had that. Couldn't have had a hole in my heart at the beginning of Leo season. But I just wanted to tell you, I'm so proud of you, truly. I know this is a huge deal for you. Let me, turn off this.